whether the company survives or the government survives. All I'm interested in is the interest of my workers or my members. If you go with that approach, you continue to have problem. You're asking for 500,000 naira per month, and the question I ask, where is the money coming from? What is the contribution of the workforce? I'm not saying that Nigerian workers are not working, but let's be sincere. You can't have a system where you have the refineries, 4 of them, shut down, and then you have your members who are staff of this refinery earning salary day in, day out for years and doing nothing. And then you want salary increase. Where will the money come from? You can't sit back and watch the oil sector, particularly the upstream sector that I know in out, emerge in massive fraud and corruption. And then we keep hearing of figures who are, falsehood, that this is because certain persons or people in the Niger Delta are busy stealing crude oil. I mean, that is not correct. So what are you doing as a labor union? Your members are in these companies. They are in the multinational companies and even in the private, the Nigerian-owned companies of this upstream sector. What are you doing? You have the NUPRC, which has not taken over part of the responsibility of DPRO. And then you have the mainstream, what they call themselves, 3 of them like that, mainstream and downstream. They are supposed to help checkmate any fraud in the oil sector. Fraud. Have you taxed them to make sure that they do the right thing and stand for this country? Where will the money come from? Even if the President Tinubu, for instance, decide to approve, then the question is, where will the money come from? Tell me that, there's money, they are squandering the money. What have you done? How much are they squandering? Even if they stop squandering the one they are doing now, will it be enough for your 500,000? I'm not against 500,000 minimum wage, but where will the money come from? In my days as a labor leader, I don't spare any of my members. They know that you must be on your duty post for me to have the moral authority to fight on your behalf. I can't sit back and you are doing nothing and then you expect me to go and defend your interests. That I will not do. In fact, I tell management, punish this person according to law. Where will the money come from, my dear labor leaders? I can't see it. I can't see most of them doing what they are supposed to do. I'm sorry to say. It hurts me when I see the labor movement and what they do these days. This is not the kind of unionism.
Perhaps not engaging strategically and with maybe some empirical, how would I put it? Because sometimes you need to be able to read the room. You need to be able to assess how much Nigeria is making. Now, if we're going to also go, because a lot of people have brought up the argument of how much government official waste when it comes to running public office in the country, from the president's office to the governors, the legislators, and the likes of it, that if we tighten the belts a little bit more, prune some of the excesses, perhaps we just might have something to keep everybody's head above water.
I've been in politics and in government, and I can tell you that while you are attacking that commissioner, minister, president, what about the number of civil servants who help them push these things? Without them, these politicians can't steal money. They can't divert, mismanage our resources. They also get share of it. What is the responsibility of the labor leaders to making sure that these their members in this strategic position, whether it's the National Assembly or the presidency or the judiciary, say, look, you must stop doing the wrong thing and then become patriotic so that we have the moral authority to make demands because we know we have worked and there's money in the system. There's a failure. I repeat it. No, labor movement for some years now have been hijacked by politicians. You can't be an NLC chairman in the state without the governor endorsing you. That is the truth.
State level?
Yes. That is why when you go to state A, if that state A is an ABGA, you are sure that the NLC chairman will be an ABGA NLC. You go to the next one.
I don't understand. They're not supposed to be they're not CACA members to the best of my knowledge.
That is creating problem now that I've found difficult to understand. They say there's now freedom for civil servants to be partisan in politics. You be card-carrying member of a PDP. What if you have a minister who is an APC? Where will your loyalty be? I've questioned why. Freedom of association is not absolute. If I'm your boss, and I have all of you, this one is APC, PDP, Labour, PRP, or what, so how will it work? So I don't know how we just got it all wrong. We've gotten it all wrong for some years now, particularly since the fourth dispensation. And that is why things are not working. Again, I return. This country is about the oil sector. Let nobody deceive you with all this talk about let's go CNG, let's go, what do you call green? Green where? From where to where? A country that is so blessed with petroleum should have no business with electric car. I'm an engineer, mechanical, electrical, and petroleum.
Oh, it should have. I mean, we're looking at a future where we're looking at the use of renewable energy. You know, let me land it, comrade. We're looking at a future in spite of the deposit that we have. I know there are countries who are also calling for the perhaps newer ways of doing things. They have coals, like in Europe, and they're still using it. But then they will appeal to countries who have not dabbled to say, okay, we're looking at long-term plan to cleanse and not continue with it. So we do have it. For some years and perhaps maybe a few decades, we're still going to have this. However, it would just be silly of a nation not to look at how to expand and look at other alternatives for the future.
What alternative? Who is pushing it? Kimberly, I didn't just study engineering. I studied the politics of global engineering. There's deeper politics in engineering and tech than you know. And that is why
I'm willing to learn. Tell me.
And consistently opposed to what they call electric car.
Electrical in what sense? What are we talking about here?
Have you not heard of electric car?
Electric car. Comrade, I'm not going to go down that road with you because we're looking at the future. You want to keep us in the past. The future
you're talking about is the future. I'm telling you that they are deceiving.
Who is deceiving? Countries are already coming up with policy to say.
Look. For so many years.
Some countries in Europe are already in effect with that.
It's because they don't have what we have.
Comrade, let's go on a quick break.
Atom Foundation proudly presents the Charity Champions Cup.
Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
This is Nigeria Info.
We've been looking at the call, which is, well, I wouldn't say is an impasse. There will definitely be a way out at the end of the day. They're going to resolve at something. But for now, the NLC is putting its own card on the table. 500,000, they're about 497,000. The federal government is saying 57,000. Organized labor some days back, presented 48,000. We're wondering, where will this swing to? What will be the new minimum wage? Our guest is saying NLC is getting it wrong because where will the money come from? It's not realistic to call for 500,000 at this material time for the country. And then we shifted into what the future would look like, what we'll be looking at. Comrade wants to take us down a slippery slope of not agreeing with electric cars, renewable energy. I feel like that should be a conversation for another day where we can trash it out and argue all sides at this point in time. We will not have enough time to look at it. I feel you're taking, say there's a way we say you don't they carry us go where we don't know.
Don't worry.
Exactly. But let me allow you wrap up your thought on this before we move on to the next story. Yeah, okay. You've concluded that the NLC should re-strategize in their engagement with the government.
We don't have just NLC, we have TUC and NLC.
They're all part of it.
Yes,
The
but it's
NLC, TUC, and other organized group fall under the umbrella.
All of them.
All right then. Okay, so they change their strategy.
For me, I've been engaged in negotiations with management, in my company. And the attitude is, first of all, approach with an open mind. Be sincere to yourself. Have we done well in terms of helping the company or the government to make money? If we have not, they will have no moral authority to ask for what we know is impossible, just because you want to impress people. I am saying now that you can't be asking for such amount of money when you allowed 4 refineries to be granted deliberately by some certain cabal because they want to enjoy what they call fuel subsidy.
I don't know how you're shifting this responsibility to these groups at this point in time. You seem to be deflecting from the government.
I have said it repeatedly. Labour plays a major role. They should take over this refinery and start the refineries. The one close to my house in Warri had no problem. Forget about this thing they call turnaround maintenance. It's just their usual way of exploiting Nigerians and making away with our money. It was working until instruction came from Abuja, as we were told, shut it down, and then they keep turning around. Every day I pass there, I don't see what they are doing. These things have no problem. And yet you have workers. We have Nigerian workers who have been managing refinery, running it, and have challenged my friends in labor union today. Say, go and take over those refineries.
Take over in what sense, comrade? You seem to be ascribing too much power to them that they do not have. They do not have the authority. No. They do not have the kind of like the organized labor we're talking about. We're talking about people who are elected or appointed into government office, and by social contract they do have that right. But the labor unions do not have it.
Labor unions can shut down this country.
Their powers are limited, I'm saying.
But
in the sense that you're saying go and take over the refinery, I think that is encroaching.
Encroaching whose territory?
Into someone else's territory. The authorities who have the mandate to put these things together.
NNPC or NPCL?
The federal government, and whatever the policy and the framework that operates.
Is it tall or short or black or white?
You know what I'm talking about, comrade.
What I'm trying to say is that they should understand that they are co-managers.
All right.
They co-own this country, the NNPC and the rest of them. So when you go with that approach, then you, who is responsible and you are not showing responsibility, will and take over to save this country. They should go and take over the refineries, get all their members who are very competent Nigerians who have been running this refinery for many decades, say moving, both the ones they forced to go on early retirement. This cabal forced them to go on early retirement, send them out so that they can take over, shut it down, and then begin to do their things. Thank God we have a president who said, fuel subsidy gone forever, and it's gone forever. It must never come back in any guise. If I hear that they are doing that, I will attack the president verbally.
Can you say it on good authority that no one is subsidizing for petrol as we speak,
well,
given the fluctuation of our currency?
It's very unfortunate. And then the labor allowed it to happen.
All right.
Take over the refineries and get it started. Chase those people away and get your colleagues to start that thing.
Oh, all right. Comrade, let's look at some response to this particular story before we move on to the next one. Good afternoon. How can a guest be saying where would the money come from? But money is coming for cars and other expenses. They should pay workers. Bola from Bari, I see you. Thank you very much. Please ask your guest, is it the fault of the refinery workers that the refineries are not working? Why is he accusing the workers that they're collecting salaries without working? Ifeanyi from FAB Estate Life Camp. No, but at one point, if the workers, year in, year out, you're getting paid for little or zero work. I mean, sometimes you should go out and protest. We no go agree.
Yes.
We're earning and we're not putting any work. Yes. Productivity is zero. Why are you earning?
That's how it should be.
I mean, I can see it happen. I've seen one report. I'm trying to recall the country where they had a similar protest of this nature. They felt they were ripping off the people by getting what they were not putting in effort to work for.
You're going too far. I'm not trying to praise myself, but when I was a labor leader in my company, the management knows that. Sometimes when the management wants to make a mistake that would favor the workers, I say no. Even though it's going to favor my members and myself, this is a mistake that will cost the company so much. And they say, we didn't think that way. That is how to be co-managers.
Comrade, we're going to do some
Don't forget
and
that
get
before
your
you are a member or you are an employee, you are in Nigeria, and by Section 24, of the Nigerian Constitution, you have a duty. You owe a duty to this country first and foremost.
Yeah. All right, good afternoon to Kim and our guest. Please tell the guest that is it what's left behind over the years? PBAT promised a living wage. Let him fulfill it. As a text from Libe, the president did say he was going to think about a living wage. He was going to work towards considering a living wage, and this definitely isn't it. I want to totally disagree with your guest in the studio. When the senators and House of Representative members were buying SUVs of 150 million naira, where did the money come from? When the government is busy sponsoring pilgrimages for Hajj with about 90-something billion naira, where's the money coming from? When the government is building coastal highway in trillions, where's the money coming from? Or where would it come from? But when it's time to increase workers' salary, we'll go back to where would the money come from. Please, let's say the truth. Tunde from Utako sent that one in. And Tom from Guarimpa says, your guest sound is in his analysis, and I respect him for that. In as much as I'm not under the umbrella of civil service, but I feel he's totally biased in his analysis by being political in his approach to the plight of the NLC. If he's asking where's the money to pay 500k minimum wage, he should equally ask himself, where's the president, senator, rep members, ministers, and the likes getting the money to satisfy their luxuries? Let's be fair to the plight of the general public, says Tom there. And let's see here. NLC need to wake up and get serious. There's so much disparity between the 500k and the 57k by OPS and the government. Organized private sector is looking 48 to okay. All right, I get you. The governments are both state and federal, with some of the former unable to pay 30k minimum wage. I don't see negotiation going beyond 100,000 if they even get at it. And I was actually enjoying the discussion until he's dabbled into something about renewable energy. Should focus on the labor matters, and let's not get into energy. We need to develop and not be stuck where we are. Does he think crude will be there forever? Other nations are moving and you're sending us backward. We need to seek other renewable energy because corruption in crude is too large, says Mr. Charles from Kuje. Let's hear this caller. Hello. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the show. What's your name?
I'm Dr. Zil from Lifetime.
Welcome, Dr. Zil.
Yeah, I disagree with the guest in the studio that where will the money come from? The money will come from federal government accounts, the national account, that everybody is getting the money from for their luxury as leaders. But then I agree with him that the labor should get serious and they should try to also be dutiful so that when they ensure dutifulness in what they do, they will now fight right. And really, anybody who is a good leader or a true labor leader should ensure proper laborness, that they should work at whatever they are requesting and get serious at all times. Because truly, if we look at the labor force in Nigeria, they are just also not serious at this being at their place of work. Some of them will need to go to work. They will go and do other things for themselves, and instead of them making sure that they are the serious workers wherever they are posted, they will not really do it. And later on, they will also see these politicians stealing the money. They will not try to stop them. They will also share part of it. And later they'll be requesting for living wage or minimum wage. So they should really be serious and make sure that the labor is labor indeed.
All right.
Whatever they are fighting for, it is true. But the money is there.
All right, sir. All right, Nigerians are saying there's money is there, surplus, plentiful. I don't know how we still have a lot of people grappling with poverty. So you're saying it's in the pocket of a very few, yeah? Hello? Good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes, welcome to the round table.
Good afternoon, Kim.
Yeah. What's your name, sir?
This is Mick Man.
We're listening.
This is Mick Man. Please tell your guest. He's like he's a stranger to a Nigerian issue. You see, you don't know how much the Nigerian Port Authority is declaring. You don't know how much custom is declaring. You don't know how much civil defense is bringing in. And you don't know how much FRSC, the Inland Revenue, is bringing. And you are asking, where do they get the money for CRV, all those motors they are buying? And where do they get the money for sending prayer to their email and inbox? So I don't know, it's a stranger. Please stop using this kind of...
All right, Makeman seems to think you're a neophyte when it comes to Nigerian politics. I don't know how to explain to him. If I finds your response to this issue very, very strange. Maybe you should go on YouTube and Facebook and perhaps see the coverage we're talking about and Google him a bit. Maybe it will help. We're live on Facebook or YouTube. I think we're having a little network problem with our Facebook page. So strictly on YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja. Leave your comment, leave your thought. Odo Ugochukwu, we see you. Aldo Michael says, watching for the very first time. You guys are doing a great job. He's watching for Maitama. John Nana Kim, welcome back. Thank you very much. Justice of Peace. Oh, that's you. Good to know. Comrade, any thought to that before we move on to the next story quickly?
No, I quickly, let me say that I appreciate Nigeria.
Honest feedback.
Honestly, the situation in the country is very, very sympathetic. In fact, there is no hope. We expected renewed hope, but not even little hope before.
It's been dashed.
And when you talk about FRs, they just keep taxing us. So we are dying, they're taxing us. But that still does not take away the fact that the labor has not done what it ought to do. Be co-managers of this country in your company. You can't have in the civil service people who don't go to work and those who go to work. What do? Majority of them, what do? I've had opportunity of heading an agency with civil servant under me. It's hell. The experience is not interesting. And then you wake up, you do nothing to make sure that your members are coming from your sector. This country would have gone to a total hot. It's because there's still money coming from the upstream sector. That is why we can be talking of, yes, it doesn't make any sense. If you ask me, I've queried even the Minister of Works. What is this Lagos, Calabar, from where to where? I agree. I expected that the labor leaders will go and storm that place, that our money will not be in this project because it makes no sense. If a private sector wants to do that, that is your business. But money coming from our common purse, this project should not be allowed. But when you sit back and you allow all of those things, people are talking about federal government wasting 9 billion naira for, where were they?
90-something billion.
90-something billion.
For
no aircraft in this country will pay your way out. When you do that, then you have a responsibility. You don't sit back and allow
90 billion naira to subsidize 2024 Hajj.
You don't sit back and allow few persons begin to loot our common wealth, and then you come back and say you're looking for asking for 500,000. Where will the money come from?
All right. I think that is the question that has rubbed off a lot of people. They seem to know where the money will come from. So my response to his comment, where is the money coming from? Before they pay huge amounts of money to House of Reps, Senators, Ministers, President, I don't blame government. It's because we don't have sincere labor leaders. God will see us through. Emmanuel, Issa Biazin in Cuba. And a lot of people seem to where's the money? They feel they know where the money is going to come from. So we're putting it all together. But the money, it feels like scarce resources with a lot of demand on it. And the average Nigerian seems to believe there is money out there plentiful.
So money just to pay salary?
Well, apparently, there's other need for it. Not enough to go around. Even if you hear all the billions, we need to be mindful of that. I see the phone line still buzzing, but let's throw in the next story. Yes, you can comment on this when we open up the phone line further. Remember, we're on YouTube. You can keep the conversation and debate going on there. The Kano State House of Assembly has asked lawmakers, or kingmakers in this case, to name a new emir following the repeal of the 2019 Emirate law. During plenary today, legislators passed the amended Kano State Emirate Council Repeal Bill 2024. Recall in March 2020, Abdullahi Ganduje, then governor, deposed Lamido Sanusi as emir of Kano for total disrespect to lawful instruction from the office of the governor. And I remember some days back, or weeks or months rather, after that, he was saying they applied the Jonathan's way. When he was removed from CBN, he removed him also as the emir. He had people cackling and laughing at that point, though. Now, Ganduje relied On the 2019 law, which balkanized the emirate into 5 districts to depose Emir Sanusi, Aminu Ado Bayero was subsequently crowned as the emir. And on Thursday, Lawan Yan Gusara, majority leader of the House who sponsored the amendment bill, told journalists that Ado Bayero is no longer the emir of Kano with the passage of the new legislation, that the bill has been sent to the governor for assent. Now there's no longer an active emir in Kano. In all the 5 emirates, Kano, Bichi, Gaya, Rano, and Karaye, Yan Gusara said. And the law now provides the governor to call on the traditional kingmakers to choose a new king. Operative of the DSS have been milling around the palace of the emir since the amended bill was passed by the legislature in a bid to forestall a breakdown of law and order. Ado Bayero is currently in Ogun State on a private visit to Sikiru Adetona, the Awujale of Ijebuland, while Sanusi is attending an investment summit in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. On socials, a lot of people are saying, no, it's going to be Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi who is going to be back. We don't know for sure. The kingmakers will decide. However, you seem to be very conversant of the politics of a lot of things. Let's look at the politics of this also. We know it was pure politics and affront by the former governor, Ganduje, who felt slighted by, perhaps maybe it was the bold steps made towards the call for girl-child education. Sanusi Lamido Sanusi was one person who was a strong advocate. As a matter of fact, you say we have enough prayer houses, build schools, let girls get enrolled, give women a more voice. And he started rubbing off the wrong way to people who felt like we need to maintain the old tradition, just like you. No renewable energy, let's stay on crude.
There's no connection between both.
and then also other calls that he've even challenged government on different platforms that he spoke, because he's quite a speaker and he invited for numerous speaking engagements in which we called out how the government of the day was operating, and he felt like we can't bring you in or keep you on, and then you start to act like you despise us. It was pure politics to every single person who followed how he was removed hurriedly and how they balkanized the emirate. And Nigerians were asking what that would do, one, to the traditional, institution, particularly for that state. The reverence that a lot of people have attached to the Kano Emirate seem to have been weakened and watered down by having 5 other emirates, who, by the way, not a lot of people pay attention to the other, save for the one in Kano. So here we are again with another government coming in, turning it on its head, and it feels like we're starting all over again. We want to look at from you, comrade, what does it even do to that traditional stool? How, I know that, yes, this is under the local government and the executive governor of the state does have a lot of power, but are we weakening this sort of institution by overturning and turning and turning at the whims of whoever comes in? Because another governor will come in and decide otherwise. Are we going to continue that way? And by any chance, is there a crystal ball to know who the kingmakers will make the one emir of Kano?
It's a very sad commentary. And it worries me, not just Kano. The Nigerian traditional institutions have since been balkanized by politicians, particularly since, in fact, even during the military it was better. But since this Fourth Democratic Republic, I come from a state where I was aware a governor issued a query, directed a commissioner to issue query to 5 first-class traditional rulers. What was the reason? They did not come to the state capital for an event. And then you see traditional rulers, first class, under the sun, waiting for governor. So what has happened in Kano State? It's not a surprise to me. How do these traditional rulers even become who they are? Who appoints them? The same governor.
Yeah.
There's a state where we know some persons who are undesirable elements in society. Governors went and made them kings just because they want those people to help them get those critical votes. What happened to Sanusi Lamido? When it was actually raising issue on national discourse, particularly the girl child, I knew that very soon he's going to run into problem. And he was prepared for it. He said it. He knew that he was moving against the norm. But for him, the old norm is not what should continue. It's not progressive. So he was determined to face the consequence. And when he came, it did not surprise him. You saw the way he left Kano. You know, they thought they were going to demoralize him, but he was not demoralized. Has he stopped talking? He's not stopped talking.
Well, he reduced, but he hasn't stopped.
Yes, but he has not stopped talking. He reduced, but he has not stopped talking. That is when you know a man who has this latent desire to express his view on topical issues. Take away the office if that is what matters to you. But again, my other worry is the way governors manipulate with ease the legislative arm of government. See, if you had an independent, credible, patriotic legislative arm of government, no governor can just say, come, go and amend this law because I want to punish social person. They won't do it. So
wait, it's implied that a governor has, instead, because he's told that it's the state member of the House who proposed that one.
I know how it works.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When the state governor wants something, he invites the key presiding officers to his house and he gives them instruction. And then the next thing you hear people, I move a motion. The man moving the motion does not even understand the motion is moving. It could be a woman too. So let me not bring down only men. So women move motion too. They are all legislators.
How many women do we even have enough to be moving anything?
Kim, okay, I will go in that direction, please.
I'm just saying, maybe if we increase the number of women, then we can have this conversation.
No, but it's true. You know, so that is what has happened. So until we stop it, this trend will continue. The question you asked, after this APC government, NMPP government in Kano, maybe the next one becomes another party. They will now call the members of the State House of Assembly and reverse it again. So it raises a question mark on the role of the legislator in peace, public order, and good government of Nigeria. Section 4. They have failed. They have failed. The only place that we even have some semblance of legislators standing and attempting to, it's even at the national assembly.
National level.
Otherwise, state level, it does not exist. Let nobody deceive you. The state governors are firmly in control, except one state, and that is Rivers State for now.
Well, we can't say it's just Rivers State. There perhaps will be other states where you're going to see that face up. But right now, I'm not going to mention any other state because Rivers State seems to be the only glaring one where we're seeing current governor versus former governor. Whose side are you on? And the battle is drawn between two powerful men. And the State House of Assembly is the grass that they're trampling on. Yeah. They're caught in the crosshairs of this. Sadly. Because that is an arm of government on its own.
That ought to be independent.
Exactly.
But now it's not independent and it's firmly in control of the former governor. True. And I don't see how a state governor can succeed without having at least majority of the members of the state house. It's never done. Anyhow you are going to do it, do it. That is why it's a difficult thing for the current governor of Rivers State, Fubara. And I've told him. So he has to find a way. This is what is happening. You see, what is happening in Kano now is because the state governor is in control of the House of Assembly. What Dangote did was because he was
also in control at that point, yeah.
Obasanjo tried to snub the National Assembly in his first term, thinking that he will use this kind of force, intimidation. But we saw that they stood their ground, and in fact, the House of Rep impeached him. Are you aware? Under the late leadership of Speaker Galinab, he was impeached. People didn't know. Obasanjo was impeached. The only thing was that
if we don't know about it, then he was not impeached.
No, see, the House
if he was not removed.
No, see, the right word is actually removal.
Okay.
But he was impeached. But they need the Senate to also impeach him so that he'll be removed. But the Senate saved him. But the House of Rep impeached him. That was the National Assembly that gave us pride and hope. Thereafter, Obasanjo understood the politics and said, look, I don't need to confront this.
And we're going to say that of the 9th Assembly? Saraki Assembly was also seen to have been one to have stood its ground.
Exactly. God bless you for reminding me. Even though it was for police, but it was able to show that, look, without us, you can't do anything as president. So that is what is happening. It is about the House of Assembly of the states that we have. All this back and front in Kano, the drama will continue. So until we have independent, patriotic members of the legislators in our states, our democracy will just remain, an object of ridicule.
Indeed.
You see what happened in the United States? What is causing Trump now, my man? this whole wahala, he attempted to desecrate the U.S. Capitol. And they say it will never happen. That is why democracy is working in those countries. But here, a president will want to sign a budget, then the president of the Senate has a speaker, they will all go to Villa and stand like his aide for him to sign the carry paper. It's not done. So there are fundamental things. This is because whoever is the president influences whoever becomes the presiding officers. And so,
I mean, we're always involved in the politics of it. It depends on who the current president wants there.
Yes.
Who the parties want at the end of the day.
And that is what is playing out in Kanu. I'm not excited by whether Sanusi is going back or the other, but you see, they have balkanized the whole thing, even that so respected Kanu Emirate, like you said.
Yeah.
What is it? Nice finish.
I mean, even if he comes back to one emirate, it will just be more of the jamboree. And everybody now knows the governor can come in and remove you with these.
So what's the big deal?
All right, John, I read your message. Banky says, this, your guest is handsome. Are you sure he lives in Nigeria? Okay, so some people are thinking a little too fresh to analyze Nigerian issue, comrade. It has gotten to that level. Your guest doesn't look like he's been living in Nigeria all this while. You should tell us.
I beg, I don't worry. I just think for worry. I beg you. Happy Wafi, don't be Abuja or the kids are in the Abuja here. We are worry. Real worry, we're hunger at the finish.
Let's go on a break.
Only bloom for a few to see. You have a chance to bloom because you deserve it. Bridgerton Season 3 is bringing the royal spotlight to Keja City Mall on the 25th and 26th of May 2024. Mark your calendars and come take advantage of the picture-perfect moment to dazzle and shine in the Bloom Box.
Watch the first part of Bridgerton Season 3 only on Netflix. Plans from 1,600 Naira monthly. In the comfort of your home, on your way to work, in the midst of your daily activities. This is Nigeria Info.
Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the fact you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
This is Nigeria Info.